All right.
All right, so Trevor just asked me how I'm doing. I want to tell a story. I
Yeah.
want to save this. I want to save this one for the public and two, in case Ollie ever listens to our podcast. I want him to hear this story. So Nikki says in her own words, "I went to war with my son earlier this week,
You.
and I won." That's the messed up
Did
part.
you though?
So okay, he's been having love him. He's been having trouble sleeping through the night, right? Like for some reason, he'll sleep all throughout the day, but at night is when he's active and awake and fussy and fighting. You know, the age-old tale, right? Here's the thing. We were looking up sleep training and whatnot, and the problem is that we let him nap so much during the day, he expands all his energy at night, right? It,
Mhm.
it makes sense, right? He hasn't days and nights mixed up. So on Tuesday, what I did was instead of letting him sleep like we normally do, nah, son, nah, you nap for an hour at most. At the hour mark, wake him up, bottle, massage his stomach, doing kicks, tummy time. I didn't let him sleep. He was pissed. And I know he was pissed because there's a difference between the cry, hey, something's wrong, and cry, I am mad.
Yeah.
He didn't sleep at all that whole goddamn day. And that night, we slept like babies. I bullied a 1 month old child into sleeping at night, and it worked. So,
See,
yeah.
in psychology, we call that conditioning. And it's the root of a lot of childhood trauma. So
That's interesting.
congratulations.
That's interesting
Congratulations.
because it's the
So
root of a good night's rest.
so remember this story when he's 30 and he stops talking to you.
I
Instead of this,
mean,
when he's 13 and he goes like, I hate you. I'm gonna go live with Uncle Chema. Like, remember this.
you and I both know we haven't
Uh,
seen him in years, not since the incident.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
I don't know what the
Anyway,
incident's going to be. I don't know what you're going to do wrong, but there will be something.
yeah, I mean it tends to be my fault. Like I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying like when, that's the big question. Um yeah.
Oh. What about you, man?
Um
How has life been? What have
oh
you
God.
been doing?
Just work stuff. Working out, working out. That's been my last week, honestly.
It sounds
Uh
exciting.
yeah, look at these. Look at this. Look at this growth. Look at
You've been
this
working
curve. This
out.
this curve wasn't there before. You see that? You see
It
that?
was not there before.
That's right. Yeah,
Proud of
so it's
you.
been that. It's been that, just working out. I mean, catching up on movies that I haven't seen. I got to see The Wolfman last week, and
Nice.
yesterday I got to see another one that I'm not gonna name it because I'm pissed at it. So
Name it. Now
well,
I need to know if I need to add it to the list.
oh God, no, I don't want to review this. I don't want to talk about this. Have you heard of this movie called Emilia Perez?
I've it's an Oscar nominee. I know that, and I know that the
Yeah,
actress had like a big controversy. Well, she's the first trans woman to ever be nominated for an Oscar.
yeah.
But I also know that it just came out that she made some, I think, xenophobic comments about Muslims, and I think there was another thing that she said. I don't recall the second.
Yeah. So last night they pretty much filtered out her whole Twitter feed
Uh-huh.
where she's been shit talking every single group, like not just Muslims, every single minority group that you can think of. She's been openly like racist, homophobic, and sexist about it. So that's been fun
I
because
mean,
I've been hating her since like Celebrity MasterChef. So it's pretty fun that this happened. Um, so anyway, um yeah. I watched the movie because it's been on my radar, and I watched all the Oscar nominees,
yeah.
and everything I've heard about it was that it was terrible, that it was a bad musical, that it was offensive to Mexicans, offensive to trans people, and I was like, yeah, that sounds right, but I still need to see it to get my own like opinion on it. And then
You need to be armed and informed so you can say, no, this does suck. I watched it.
yeah, which is what I needed to do. So I watched it last night, and we're not here to review that. We're not here to talk about it. Everything that can be said about the movie has already been said. I don't think I have an original thought to add to that.
So
It is bad. It is bad. Like and not even in a ridiculous way. Like if anything, if there should be a target audience for that, it should be me. Like if anyone is into weird shit, like it's me. And it's the worst thing that a movie can be, which is boring.
See,
that sucks.
I
Yeah.
heard about it and I had to God, I was like, ah, Chum's gonna want to review this, but I don't know when we're gonna have time. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. It was so bad that we don't have to review it. Sounds like music to my ears.
Yeah, let's not. Let's not. Um yeah, I could just say like look, it's available on the US on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
I recommend if you want to have an opinion on it, you should watch it beforehand. I never say this,
Uh-huh.
but I'm gonna say this once. If you don't have Netflix and you don't want to pay for Netflix, there are other ways to see it.
Damn, and Chema never says that.
If there's one movie that I'm going to say like, hey, you should,
Fuck this movie.
yeah, that's the one. Like
That is saying something.
I think it's the second worst movie of the year.
What's the worst?
Obviously Red One. And
Man, you see, you just hate The Rock. Like, even if it's okay,
it's
though if Red One was boring, right? Right? You said Red One was boring, but this one was
yeah.
offensive to Mexicans. You're saying boring is worse than being offensive?
Oh yeah. I'll say it again. On YouTube, I said that shit. On Spotify, I said that shit. On iTunes, I said that shit. On Podbean, I said that shit.
Jesus. Okay. All right, folks. We're gonna just, jump right into it because Chema, his taste in movies is much like his taste in friends, questionable at best.
Say the thing.
Let's go.
Thank you for what for welcoming us into your headphones. My name is Chema.
And I am Lord Warlock, not Nosferatu like a lot of you fucking idiots think. Warlock.
And this is the rollback. So come to the darkness.
I'm willing to put money down that you can't keep that up this whole review.
A gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. You must bounce on
Flag
it.
on the play. No mas. I don't know if you I can understand some of your words.
Your bitch too bad, Mr. Hotter. Anyway, yeah, Nosferatu, directed by Robert Eggers. It is the remake of the 100-year-old silent movie classic that, revolutionized Gothic atmosphere and German Expressionism, starring Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Bill Skarsgård, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Willem Dafoe, Emma Corrin, and other colorful characters. Robert Eggers has been a darling of our little show. We all have strong opinions about about his previous three movies, The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman. And
Mhm.
now we go into Nosferatu. To me, he's a true auteur. To me, he's one of the most interesting original directors working right now, which is interesting because he decided this movie will now be a remake. First time that we're seeing him adapt something like that. I love his style. I think it's very unique and I think it's very recognizable. So it's really cool that we got to this movie. And to me, this movie felt like okay, we get through 2024 and we get Nosferatu at the end. Like it's the reward, it's the dessert. It's like if we make it through the year, we get Nosferatu at the end. That always felt like the end goal, cinematically speaking, of the year. And I'm glad to say that it did not disappoint. I freaking adore this movie. Um, but I think I was also like a target audience for this. Like I was like, this movie is for the freaks, it's for the gothics, it's for the yearners, it's for the people who love that cold darkness, and I like how it was expressed in the movie. What did you think? What were your initial thoughts about Nosferatu?
It's funny. I was actually really looking forward to this movie for a really, really long time. Nosferatu is one of those historic movies. So I'm gonna rewind this real quick. Nosferatu is one of those movies that you should definitely watch. Like it's up there. It's one of those that you need to watch if you're a film buff, but you also need to go into it with like very tinted glasses, like borderline like prescription glasses. Because For the time, it was cutting edge. For now, it's kind of boring. Like it's very slow paced. It's very an item of its time.
Yeah.
So I was really curious how they were going to remake that film because it is an iconic film and it's actually not the first time it's been remade. This is actually, I think, either the second or third remake. There was one in either 1977 or 1979, or maybe both actually.
Yeah,
Uh,
freaking God, what's his name? He directed a remake. Werner Herzog did a remake, which I liked. I thought it was good.
of
Um,
Nosferatu.
yeah, it was called
It,
Nosferatu the Vampire. Yeah.
See, I didn't see the remake. I've seen the original, but I didn't see the remake. But yeah, so I was really curious going into this film. Okay, what can we expect if it's going to be so different? To which. Honestly, bravo. I'll start with that. Bravo all the way around. They did add to the mythology, but I feel like everything they did nothing but enhance the film. This movie was the best kind of horror because they couldn't hide behind demons. It was just scary moment after scary moment after disturbing moment after disturbing moment. A masterfully told story, a story that's not the most complicated or insane, but also like very well done. And we'll get to those parts when we get there.
Mhm.
Um, but overall, if you want my first thoughts of this film, and I do want to break this movie down plot wise, like not just saying it's really good and we like the acting. I'm talking like I want to break it into pieces.
Okay.
Um, but initial thoughts, goddamn 9. Like this is probably the highest movie I've scored in a year. I haven't
Yeah.
given any tens.
Yeah. This is I knew that I was gonna get into the atmosphere. My problem, my biggest well, not worry, but like my biggest concern was how is it gonna do, how is the setup going to be, and how much is it going to be like the original, and how much is it gonna change. um I saw this review that they kept how Bill Skarsgård looks as Orlok. They didn't show him in the trailers, they didn't show him anywhere. They didn't even let us listen to his voice so that it would all be a surprise. It
Yeah.
would have been cool if they didn't even told us that that was him. Like imagine finishing the movie, seeing the credits, and like that's your first like you that's how you find out that that was Bill Skarsgård, because like you couldn't tell that was him.
No,
He
at
was great
all.
at this.
No.
Yeah. And but my biggest thing was like, okay, what's going to be different? I like that the difference was that sorry, my headphones are telling me that they're low in battery. Yeah, I like how they changed enough things. Like in this story, it's not just that he's infatuated with her, it's because they were previous lovers. They have a history.
Yeah.
And I like how that, keeps going, and how you could compare it to, you know, how you could use it as a metaphor for today. How you can be like, there are a lot of toxic relationships out there that like sometimes keep following you around.
Mhm.
So I like how you could use that, how this tale that takes place like a long time ago can still feel modern today. And I think Eggers like struck out of the park with that.
I appreciated the fact that you hit the nail on the head when you say like they just added onto the story, but also like the atmosphere, like everything is part of this film, from the atmosphere, the way they talk about everything. It's just there's so much going on and it's all going on right. And at the very beginning of the movie, we're introduced to a young Ellen who essentially makes a deal with the devil, except
Yeah.
this guy's real.
Yeah.
Um, and pleads for him to erase her loneliness, but oof, she has to pledge herself to him. And I guarantee you, she didn't think that he was gonna actually call in the favor. And then we jump forward to a modern time where she is married to one Thomas Hunter. They're living in a town, and I don't know if they just got married. No, yeah, they just got married,
They just got
and,
married, yeah.
and he's off to make his fortune. She's so infatuated with him. She loves him so deeply, so much that it physically hurts for him to be away. But he is assigned by his employer to go sign an important client to sell an estate. And if he does this, he's a made man, right? Like they can buy a house, they can start talking family, and he entrusts her to his best friend, um, Hernock? No,
Friedrich Harding. You were saying, yeah. He's off to make his fortune.
yeah, he's up to make his fortune so they can buy a home, start their life and whatnot. Like that's their overall goal. Um, and he entrusts her to his best friend, Harding, I believe that was his name.
Hmm.
And yeah, we're off to the races. So initially on this first part, like I'm very how to say this? I think you are too on some level. You understand his plight. Like you understand like why he doesn't want to go. He has to go. He has to provide. He has this internal need to be like, okay, I need to go and secure a fortune. That way we can start our lives together. Like you like this couple. You see that they're very much in love. Now, I don't know if it's so much he loves her. She seems almost obsessed with him, like to an unhealthy level. She's I think what we would call very clingy. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, so he's off with first parts. They set up everything, set us up with the characters. What do you think at the beginning?
I have an interesting analysis of that
Shoot.
because like yeah, you mentioned like she seems obsessed with him. He seems equally obsessed with her. Like he just he has to work. He has his duty. And for a while, I was thinking like, why is he so obsessed with like providing and being that person? A person that can give her everything. I mean, I understand, you're in a relationship, you're married, you want to, you that's born out of you. But I
Mhm.
thought there's something else going on here. There's something else. And while I was watching it, I watched it two times, and I after thinking about it often, because she has moments where she tells him like, we don't need a bigger house, we don't need more. Like it's just you, me, and the cat. Like we're good.
Yeah.
Um, please don't leave me alone. Please, I want this. And then it kind of kicked in why when they go visit Aaron Taylor Johnson, when they go visit Harding, and he sees his life, his wife, his two daughters, a third one on the way, big house right next to a beach. He has a
Yeah.
business where he's like the boss. He has a shipyard, um, and he openly tells him like, I'm I'm jealous of you. And he tells him like, I'll pay you back the money that I owe you. There's a whole thing going on. I think the Nicholas Holt character,
Mhm.
Thomas Hutter, I think there's a little bit of a unmentioned jealousy that he feels for Harding. I think he wants to be him. I mean, not like slide into his life, but like have what he wants. Um,
He aspires to what he has.
Yeah, and I think that rivals his love for Ellen. And you can call that, jealousy, you can call that manly pride, you can call it whatever you want, but I think that gives him an edge. That makes him a little bit of like more complex as a character. And I think he deserves to be equally like known for that. I think there's a lot of darkness in that. Why else would he take this like very long trip? Risking his life, risking, his wife, um, for money, you know. So I like that there's that aspect, and I like that it's subtle. I like that it's not like completely spelled out for us. Like there's enough hints, so like he can be like, as much as it's her movie, it's also his movie. He's also like wanting that life.
Do you think there's some part of it where it's like there's a tragedy there where his ambition costs him everything?
Yes,
I get that.
definitely.
Well,
Yeah,
not just, unfortunately, not just him, but you know where I'm going with this.
yeah, it's going there.
Um, but okay, so let's jump over to the part where and bear in mind this film does jump back and forth, so we're gonna try to cover it as best we can.
Yeah.
So he's on his way to meet with Count Orloff to do the sale. He ends up at an inn where he's surrounded by gypsies at one point. He
I
whips.
believe I believe the term they use now is Romani. I think the term, yeah, I believe the term is no longer.
Is that offensive? My apologies. I didn't know that
Uh,
that was a thing.
no, it's not. I don't know if it's like offensive, but I think it's outdated, and I do think some people do find it offensive. But
Fair enough. Okay,
no, no,
Romanians. My
yeah,
apologies. If I
no,
did,
no, it's fine. You know, they use it in the movie because for the time frame, it's the correct term, I believe.
gotcha. Oh,
Yeah,
well, I mean, there's a certain time where a certain offensive word was used very commonly around certain folks, so no, that makes sense.
yeah,
Well, okay, so he's around a lot of Romanian people.
yeah,
Um, he wakes up in the middle of the night, goes out, and he sees that they're essentially sacrificing a virgin girl to a creature, and they stab him. And he wakes up, and he's thinking, "Oh, it didn't happen." But then he sees his like marks on his chest, like, "Oh
yeah.
shit!" Like that was real. Um, finally gets to Count Orloff, and this is, I mean, yeah, Count Orlok, and this is the part where I'm like, I'm genuinely shocked at how well he made it terrifying. Because you think castle in the middle of nowhere, yeah, that's not that scary. No, the atmosphere made it terrifying. Count Orlok made it terrifying. The parts where they're discussing things, he has such a terrifying menace to him to where honestly, I can't blame that Thomas was nervous or scared or worried or concerned. I can't blame him
Mhm.
for that.
Yeah.
Um,
I want to talk real quick about one scene when he's walking towards the castle and we have this beautiful sequence where we see like the snow falling and he's in the middle of all these trees and we see the carriage kind of show up, open the door by itself and like keep walking in. I was enthralled by that whole sequence and it's so classically Eggers
mm,
that whole because it felt like something that would work in The Witch. It felt like something out of The Northman and we see him get into that and I was and this is how well the movie works. I was kind of feeling very relaxed in that scene. Like not sleepy, but I was feeling like very, very juicy and comfy in that moment. And I was like, I was kind of like feeling like enthralled, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's working!" Like that would work on me. Like I would have gone into that thing too. And so the whole trek towards the castle ends up there. And yeah, I agree. When Orlok shows up, and we just see him we just see like the darkness, and then we see him walking up, and we start to hear his voice, and it's also you're like, oh my God, this is freaking great. Like the way they made him like, and I like how very slowly, just with the fire, we start to kind of make out his features, and we finally see it. We see the mustache. We need to have a moment to talk about the mustache.
I want to
What
talk about
did you
his comb over, his very bad comb over.
that too, but let's talk about the mustache first. What did you think about the mustache?
I was just, oh man, I didn't like him at all.
Really?
I okay, wait, I didn't like him as in it's terrifying.
Okay.
Like he genuinely looks grotesque. Like they didn't lean on like the original Nosferatu design is terrifying. And I'm
Mhm.
so glad they didn't try to remake it and redo it.
Yeah.
Glad they did their own take, but this new take is just fuck that, get out of there now. Like run, you run fast.
Yeah. And I like it because look, remember the Gary Oldman Dracula? The
Yes, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
With Keanu Reeves and his terrible, terrible, terrible accent.
terrible, terrible, terrible accent, yes. Yeah, so I saw that again recently. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen it. And so I saw that and I was thinking like, hey, it's really cool that like they made him like an original design even though we know what Dracula like in our heads what he looks like. And
Yeah.
I was thinking it's probably going to be the same thing with Nosferatu. Like he's not going to look like the original Nosferatu that we all know from that classic SpongeBob episode, Graveyard Shift. You know, I am very open to him looking differently, and the mustache it feels like a statement. He looks differently, and to me, the mustache. I was looking at the mustache, and I was like, I don't know if this works, but then I saw him with like the hat and like the cape, and I was like, nah, this works. This really, really works. I can like if that's if you say the word count, that's kind of what I figured, like a Rasputin kind of look and the way he and then you couple that with the voice and his heavy breathing that felt very Darth Vadery. You have him there and like the way that he replies to him, like when Hutter calls him sir, he goes like, "You would call me as my blood demanded. You will call me my lord." Like
Very
it
off-putting.
works. Yeah,
There was a part in there where I was shocked, and only they could do this. I was shocked at how well the accent was still intimidating. Because I don't know how they pulled this off. Like Nosferatu should not be intimidating, but somehow they made it work. Him and Skarsgård made it work.
yeah. Um,
Outstanding work on their part.
I heard he trained with an opera singer.
Oh, to do that with his voice,
Yeah.
I believe it. And
Yeah.
man, it worked. Well, whatever the hell they did, it worked. I can say that completely.
Yeah. And I like how so they have that moment where they're talking and they're like he's signing the papers Probably one of my favorite lines in the movie is when he goes like, "Ut now vi are navel." So that's really cool.
Just really
Um,
putting.
really freaking off-putting. And then they have like a moment where like Hunter is clearly like showing signs of like sickness, and he's cold and he's wet and he's sick. And he's like, okay, you signed. I have to go. I must take my leave. And he goes like, "Und you must not travel while sick. It's bad omen. You will obey this here, me counsel." And then, so he has to stay. Um, freaky as fuck, man.
And at the same time, we start to get these spells of, oh my God, there was one part that actually did make me laugh.
Yeah,
Um, I want to jump back to Elena, sorry, Ellen?
yeah,
Ellen. Where she talks about how much she misses Thomas, she wants to see him. And then twice we see her having spells of delirium, right?
yeah,
Once in the water where it's weirdly like she's having like a seizure slash exorcism attack, but also her legs are like wide open and she's like filling herself up.
oh
Like
yeah.
it's a weirdly like erotic exorcist moment,
Hmm.
which like I'm gonna say this in a video review when I record it. This is probably the horniest vampire movie since the first Twilight film. Like,
Heck yeah.
damn.
Heck yeah. Merry Christmas to all. Heck yeah.
Jesus. But like, okay, and then there's a part where Thomas and the doctor are discussing how to treat Ellen, and she starts like talking again and is moving around and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, have her wear a corset; it'll help the breathing." Like, you idiots, that's not how it works. And he goes, "I'll give her another round of ether," and just like drugs her right in the. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck? What are you do?" Oh yeah, that was medicine back then.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think this film did a great job. You're right. Both Ellen and Thomas are main characters as much as the Count Orlok is. You
Yeah.
want to say Olaf, and I know that's because of Frozen. I'm sorry, Count. If I keep referring to you as such, bite me.
Oh
Uh,
no, he will. He will.
no, please no.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's right.
we
He does
start.
it to his chest. The fucking weirdo.
Oh yeah, when we see that shot of like him laying on top of him and like sucking on his chest. Oh God, it was really freaky,
That made
really
me uncomfortable.
scary.
And boys, I didn't know I could be uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it really works because then we see, Thomas waking up and we start to see him kind of walking around the castle. And then I will say this, though, and this is probably my only criticism of the movie, but the fact that, he doesn't know if what he's thinking of like him being bitten in the chest, he doesn't know if that's like actually happening or if it's a dream. And then when he was walking around the castle and finds, where he is like resting, he goes and tries to kill him a little too fast, I'll say. Like it kind of comes out of nowhere when he like tries to stab him for the first time.
I mean, okay, three things. One, he saw a really big chest of gold. Maybe he's trying to put him down, take it away, run with it, and then, oh, did you kill him? No, dude, he signed the document and then started heading here. I don't know who killed him.
Yeah.
Also, don't worry
Yeah.
about my new fancy digs. That's one. Two,
Look at
this
these wolves, man. They follow me everywhere now.
the
Check out my wolves.
bitches. And then he has what else? He has what else? What else? Oh, dude is just menacing. Like I'll say that right now. I know we're not supposed to judge a book by its cover. Count Orlok is menacing as all hell. Like, I'm pretty sure that was a defensive stabbing if he had killed him.
But he didn't. Okay, he. I think it goes a little too fast. I think he tries to kill him like for nothing, like for no reason, and then he gets like he gets like chased. He gets chased by the dogs, by the wolves, who look menacing. By the way, those are some pretty fucking terrifying dogs.
There's some hellhounds,
And
man.
yeah, and we have a really cool moment that I really like because I don't think I've seen a scene like this in a movie ever, where like he's getting chased and he ends up walking to the ledge of a window, and we kind of look down, you know, to like it's a moat, to
Yeah.
river, and we as an audience think like, okay, this shot is to tell us that there's a moat and the dangers that could happen if he fell.
Sorry, you've scam
Yeah,
phone.
yeah, it was like and he, oh he fell he falls. And like to me, I thought it was gonna be like shot of him, shot of down, shot of back, so that we see him scared. No, it's like shot of down. There he is. He's falling down,
Whee!
and it's like Roadrunner style, just like what? You're like, what the fuck, man? Is that it?
Is he
Like
dead now?
we're like, okay. Like I thought like Orlok was gonna come out and be like, wow, that never happens, like something like that. And I was
Imagine. Oh, that was quick.
oh, oh, dang it, like. He didn't like he forgot to sign one more thing. Like, can you imagine? Like he just falls,
Just turns
and
into a comedy.
I thought like, what the fuck is this? Like, I've never seen something like that. I was like, okay, so where's this going?
What,
Um,
what's that? What's that movie? What if they weekend at Bernie's him? But it's Thomas and it's Orlok and Ellen.
See, that would have been funny. That would have
Oh,
been funny.
just
Uh,
imagine like whatever that may have been that may have been the best troll since the Joker to just go completely right. Like you thought it was going left? Nah, bitch.
nah, it's going the other direction. So I like that. Because I legitimately was like, well, where is this going?
Yeah.
And Ellen can kind of feel it. Like she's like her visions are getting crazier. And that's when we get introduced to best supporting actor of all time. William Dafoe plays Professor Alvin Everett von Franz, which is as cool as a name as you can get. And he gets introduced as like this colleague of the doctor, played by Ralph Ineson. And he's like, well, I had this professor, he's a doctor, he knows what he's doing, but like he kind of got expelled out of his country, so because of his methods. And then he gets introduced, and he kind of steals the film.
He's kind of weird, let's be real. He is weird, but yeah, he does kind of steal most of the film, not gonna lie.
Yeah, and he has probably my favorite line in the movie, which is when he goes like, "I have seen things, my boy. I have seen things that would make who's the scientist that he mentions?
Can't remember his name.
Yeah, I've seen things that would make this guy run back into his mother's womb." Like, it's a fucking great line, man.
Jesus.
Freaking love that.
He all right, so dude falls out. Sorry,
Yeah,
Thomas falls out, and then we're mostly back. We get minor shot of seeing how Count Orlok is on a boat that eventually crashes. Which folks, by the way, maybe like the weirdest like partition you could do. Maybe watch the first half of Nosferatu,
yeah.
watch the last voyage of the Demeter, and then finish Nosferatu, because that's actually what happens. Like the last voyage of the Demeter is actually what happens. Like that is Nosferatu in there. They just couldn't name him that.
Yeah.
So there's that. Um, crashes, and then don't we also have a scene where not Thomas Hunter, where's no, not Frederick Harding, who is Ernok. Ernok.
Hernock, yeah.
Yeah, where he's very much an insane asylum.
He's such a freaky little guy. Such a weird little guy. I love a weird little guy in a movie.
He's a legitimate troll. Like an actual fucking troll. I'll go on record stating that.
Mhm. Like a
Um,
weird fucking little guy. I love me a weird little guy. And if you've seen the original Nosferatu, like the original like black and white side movie, they got the creepiest motherfucker to play that guy. Like in a good way. In a good way. Complimentary. And this guy, I don't know his name. His name is Simon McBurney. Great job. Great job capturing that energy.
so actually the thing is in the original, he deteriorates over the film. He starts to go crazy. Whereas in this one, nah, dude's just batshit insane all the way through, huh?
Hmm. Yeah, no, he did a good job. He was great. I haven't seen him since Harry Potter, so it's cool to see him again in something.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah, he was Creature. Yeah.
He also okay, Count Orlok is back and he essentially tells Ellen, you have 3 days to turn yourself over before I start killing people. Like,
I I have something to say about that.
go.
This is one of my favorite aspects about this movie, and I
Uh-huh.
like that movie making is modern. Is even though it's an old story, you can modernize it for the modern generation because this was such a good little detail.
Hmm.
There's a moment where he visits Ellen and he says, "I will come back on 3 day, 3 nights," and then he says, "Tonight is the first night." and then he leaves. And I was, if I was in that situation, if he had said 3 nights, I would have been like, wait, does this night count? Or like, do we start counting after the next one? And he goes, no, me count 3 nights. And I'll be like, no, 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 does this count? Or is it like 3 nights starting after tomorrow? Like, can we
When do we
specify that?
start this count number?
Yeah, it's like that scene in Scary Movie 3 where she's talking to like the ring girl and he goes like 7 days. It's like, wait, 7 days starting right now? Yes, why not? It's like, no, like 7 days because like we have a holiday coming up. It's like, is it national holiday? Yes, then no. Oh, okay, so 8 days. Like, no, 7 days. 7 business days? No, like it felt like that scene. So I was so glad that he said like 3 nights. Tonight is the first night. I was like, thank God.
At least,
Like, huh?
at least they told us, like to make sure we're on point
I
there.
was so glad. I love that scene. It's like a little. It was like I know modern audiences cannot do subtext, so like let me just like
Let's get some clarification about this bitch.
yeah, let me be specific. I was like, I'm so glad he's specific. Yeah.
He so he threatens her with that, and then shit, poor fucking what was it? What was his character's name? Poor
Uh,
Frederick Harding. That poor son of a bitch. Like one, well, Thomas gets back and he says, like, look, I have to ask you guys to leave, but we're not done. Like Thomas is sick. I have to put my family first. Like, I love you guys and I love Thomas. I need to keep my wife and my kids safe first, and then I can help you guys out. Which is the most understandable thing. I didn't blame him at all.
okay.
Like, but the poor bastard still loses everything. Count Orlok almost in a very unfriendly fuck you to Ellen takes out the kids and the mom or the wife in one of the most terrifying, just like she hears screaming of the girls,
Yeah.
runs over. Poor Harding is like in a trance right now. Like he can't get up. He won't get up. He's asleep. He's permanent memes at the moment.
Yeah.
And we see one daughter on the floor, like drained of blood. We see him eating the other daughter.
Yeah.
And then he just like dumps her body and goes after the wife.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Also, those caskets were way too tall. But nonetheless, I didn't like it. I was like, they're gonna tip over. Why are they so long, so high? But anyway, um, yeah, one of like oh man, that sucked. I hated that. Like I was never cheering for Nosferatu for sorry, Count Orlok, but after that moment I knew I wanted him dead. Like that was for damn sure.
Yeah, that was a pretty intense scene, and I like how Harding kind of goes crazy after that. Like he's legit like because he kind of joins the operation for a second, and then he just like gets consumed by like madness of losing like his wife and his pregnant wife and his 2 kids. So
Dude, I can't blame him.
it's, yeah, it's insane. Well, what he does next, that's why this movie ended up being the freakiest movie of the year. Because like he goes to after a while, he gets infected also with the plague. Because like in the middle of this, there's a plague going on with the
Oh
rats,
yeah. I
which
forgot
is, it's not the rats' fault. I will say this. Like they're just,
carriers.
they're just carriers. It's not their fault. Rats innocent. Which, by the way, this movie uses like 2,000 real rats, which are now part of a rat actors union, which is, good news for Hollywood.
I can't tell if
And
they're joking or not.
why would I laugh about, why would I joke about something as serious as a union?
I mean, a rat union? You're
You
serious.
don't you don't think they deserve dental after the pain that they went through?
I don't think any rat deserves dental. Have you ever had your house infested with rats?
Not today.
Exactly. Yeah, you still think they have rights.
Well, maybe if they had a job, that gave them a union rights, maybe they wouldn't be squatting into other people's houses.
Jesus Christ, Gemma.
Consider that. Anyway, point is, there's a ton of rats in this movie. Great, love it, love me a rat infested movie, and I like that they're real rats too. Like they're not CGI. Which we should say this. There's a lot of cool practical effects in this.
That's
Like
true. Yeah, we haven't mentioned that.
yeah, like a lot of these sets felt real, and a lot of the settings felt built and lived in. I really like that. It gave a movie an identity. Um, yeah, which is
I,
more what that I can say about half of the Best Picture nominees, which, have been busted for using AI.
Wait, really? Which ones?
Oh yeah. Apparently, Emilia Perez used Respeecher to pitch up people's accents, which for nothing, the accents are terrible. Apparently, the Brutalist did it as well. And what the fuck else? There's been other controversies for others.
Controversies, Academy.
Yeah, like
So are they gonna be unnominated or what's happening?
I don't know. They haven't said anything. They haven't like made
When did the
us.
story break? I'm barely seeing this.
Oh
Oh, it's
God,
only
like
two of the
the
films.
the Brutalist thing came out like before the nominations came out. I don't know if it was too late by then. Uh, I'll send you It's a really good video essay of a girl like breaking down all the controversies for all the nominees. I'll send it to you because it's not just that.
Let's see. God damn,
Yeah,
yeah, send that to me because I'm going through it. It
yeah,
only says those two.
yeah. No, Anora had like a whole thing with the intimacy coordinators. Yeah, there's like a ton of things going on there. Oh,
But didn't the writer's strike, like, didn't that whole thing kind of like limit on what they could do
for
with the
fucking
act?
nothing.
Or maybe they thought they could get away with it. Fuck it, it's on. Let's go.
It's on. Okay. Back to Nosferatu. Yeah, we have this like little team that has been gathering of the Doctor, Ralph Ineson, Willem Dafoe, Hutter, and Harding, where they're kind of like all making a plan. Like, okay, we're gonna go strike. We have to kill him while he's resting, while he's at his in his castle. I mean, in his new home, and that will end the plague. And the character of Ellen, like she knows that that won't stop him. She knows that it has to be her. Um, so that leads to like a very interesting, development because like she knows it, but she doesn't want anyone else to know. So she only discusses it with Von Franz, with Willem Dafoe's character, who kind of pushes her to do it. She's like, no, it has to be you. It has to be you. You're the one that has to do it.
He
Um,
bullies her. Like it's very clear why he was kicked out.
so it goes into that. We haven't mentioned about one very specific scene, which is when she's going through her mania, but she's reunited with Hutter, and she's kind of going between like being herself and being still controlled by Orlok. Where like she kind of goes like I'm scared, and then she goes like you could never satisfy me like he could. Like
Oh,
it goes back and
that was
forth.
fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, and that little moment when he like takes her and grabs her and like make does his way with her, and she goes like, "Do it, have him see us, like do it." It feels like a moment of rebellion for both of them in a good way. Like it feels like it's like the two of them like rebelling against him. Like, no, our love is more powerful than whatever you got going on.
You thought she was enjoying you. Nah, son, she was saying goodbye.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a moment where like I really appreciate it. I like how it makes sense in their moment, in their world, why they're doing that. Um, but then we get to the third night.
Ugh.
Yeah,
And so they split off kind of into two teams. Was this before? No, this was after Thomas had already, not Thomas, I'm sorry, when Harding had already kind of soft offed himself with the rats and whatnot.
yeah,
I think it's William Defoe and Thomas that go, right? Or was there
and
a
the
third?
doctor, and the
Huh?
doctor, and the
And the
doctor.
doctor, yes.
Yeah,
So they go and they're going to destroy the tomb and they've realized he's not there. And it's at that point Willem Dafoe kind of gives it up and says, "This, like, this was never the plan. We were never going to beat him like this."
yeah,
And that's when Thomas kind of puts together, "Oh shit, he's going after Ellen." He runs over. By this point, Ellen has essentially invited Nosferatu into, or sorry, the Count into her place.
yeah.
We fast forward to the morning. Poor woman. He's sucking the blood from her chest, and the sun's coming up. And this is the part where I'm like, "Look, this is stupid, but I'll go with it." Clearly the sun is coming up.
Yeah,
He's not blind,
yeah,
but he is so initiated by his need to drink her blood. She even says, "Come back, keep drinking."
yeah.
That he drinks long enough for sunset to officially come out, for the sun to completely come out and kill him, which is one of the most beautifully sad sacrifices I've ever seen. Especially when Thomas walks in, sees him on top of his wife, and holds her hand as she dies,
Yeah.
which, goddamn.
Yeah. And then, we kind of see them all come back. We see Defoe come back as well. Starts to put like flowers around around their bodies. And, he kind of gives the ending, like the little speech at the end of like, it was needed like this. Like she will end the plague. She will save our lives. She did all this. And then we have probably the most Eggers shot of the whole movie, which is that top laying shot of the two bodies intertwined with like the flowers around them. We see that Orla clearly skipped Lex Day, and um,
Yeah.
and we see like the whole body, and then the movie ends.
He has the
And
he has what might be the flattest ass I've ever seen.
yeah, and uh,
It's
and we see
confident.
that, and we go like, the movie ends, credits start, screen turns black. We all pull out, a cigarette, we light it off, and we just go like, that's fucking cinema, baby.
That
Yeah.
this felt like, was this nominated for any Oscars? It should have been.
Yeah, like 5 or 6, I think.
Best Picture?
No.
It honestly deserves it. Yeah, okay, here. I'm seeing it here right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Best cinematography, definitely. Best costume design, maybe. Best production design, definitely. Best makeup and hairstyling, maybe. I'm not sure.
I mean, that come over, that's an Oscar nominated come over now.
But like, let's see. Films with multiple nominations. Wow, they have nothing about the controversy
Yeah.
on the page. Interesting.
Uh,
Interesting.
yeah. I think it deserved Best Picture. I think Eggers deserved Best Director. I think Lily Rose Depp, Skarsgård, and Dafoe deserve acting noms.
Why why do you think, look, I can justify Honora, I can justify A Complete Unknown, I can justify Conclave, Dune, uh Substance, and Wicked. I haven't seen the other ones.
Yeah.
But I wonder why,
Why does the Oscar hate horror movies?
well, also why is Emilia Bettis nominated? Like what was so good?
That's a that's a whole other conversation. That could take us a couple of hours.
Like was it a political thing?
No, it's weird. I'm convinced some people are paid off. Like I'm convinced because this makes no fucking sense. The Oscars are allotted like one, maybe two cool things a year, and they spend both on one nominating The Substance for Best Picture and two getting Conan to host. And like that's the only cool thing that's gonna happen in the Oscars. Look,
Hopefully
it's really cool that Nosferatu got nominated like at all. Like I was watching the nominations come out in real time, and I was getting every time that Nosferatu will be named. So the fact that Alien Romulus and The Substance got nominated, like this is the most horror that we've gotten in a year with at the Oscars. So that's really cool.
all I hope is that Timothy Chalamet wins Best Actor. That way he can say like, huh, this wasn't so hard. I'm not even 30 yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
will be fun.
Leo, what took you forever, man?
Yeah, I think if he wins, he would be the youngest winner. Because
Uh,
right now the youngest winner was Adrian Brody when he was 29.
and he's
So
nominated right now.
yeah, again,
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet is he's 29, so he would tie him.
yeah, unless by days they differ. Anyway, it's weird.
Yeah.
He could win. I think it's gonna be between him and Coleman Domingo. Um, which either of them I think would be cool. I haven't seen a complete unknown yet. But we'll see.
But yeah, so Nosferatu. I mean, what was your we went in with expectations.
Yeah.
How did they change once the film was over? Like did it live up to your expectations? Was it better? Was it worse?
I think it was better than my expectations. Like went in, like I went in, prepared to be enthralled and like it and enjoy it, and I had a blast. It was fun. It's long. It's 133 minutes long. Doesn't feel long. Feels like it uses every single one of those minutes correctly. Love that Eggers got to do this. Love that a new version of Nosferatu exists that like is memorable, is quotable. Everyone in it acts well. My biggest worry was Lily Rose Depp because she kind of came in as a replacement because originally it was going to be Anna Taylor-Joy, uh, who would have killed this. Like she would have bodied this. I'm sorry to Lily Rose Depp, but she would have fucking killed this. So I was a little worried because like I don't think she's done great performances in the past. I thought she was great in this. So that's so you know, she shut me up. Um she
I
was
think,
the movie kind of hangs on her performance and she does great. Yeah.
oh, she
What's
was
up?
in The Idol. Oof.
Oh yeah. That was not her fault though.
No, 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 no. But like
Yeah.
that's a tough one to get through, man.
I know. And
Um,
yet, yeah, that's what being a Nepo baby will do. It'll just give you more options, give you more opportunities.
oh fuck, I forgot she was a Nepo baby.
Yeah.
She was
But she's
especially
good in
confident.
this. She's legit good in this. Like that's not, you know, that's not to make less of that. But no, she's good in this. Holt is great in this. Skarsgård is fantastic in it. I was a little worried that he was gonna get, you know, trapped as the it guy, but nah, he's got range. He can do a lot of cool things.
He
We
can be
kind of
any
take
big
him,
monster.
we kind of take him for granted. So I think he's legit great in this. So does Aaron Taylor Johnson, and especially Willem Dafoe. I think Corin, Einstein, everyone in this movie, I thought it was great. On characteristically, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5. To me, this was great way to cap up the year, and yeah, it's not gonna be the last time that I'm gonna discuss this movie. So, you know,
Same.
yeah,
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I don't know what it could do to be better, but god damn, this movie is genuinely a movie. One, you need to go out of your way to watch. Two, I would strongly encourage you to watch it in theaters. It's fine at home, but this is one of those movies where I think a theater is what's best, like
yeah,
by far.
yeah.
Um,
So I saw this by myself, and then Jess texted me, told me that, you know, I'm gonna go see this also by myself because like I wasn't there to like visit her and everything. And
yeah.
I was like, really? And she's like, I've never gone to see a movie by myself. And I was like, really? And I was like, yeah, it's like this is gonna be my first time. So I'm gonna go do it. And then she told me that she went super early and that she was the only person in the theater. And
Oof,
that it
that's not the best.
yeah, apparently it
It
really
was.
added to the experience. So that sounded fun. So yeah, I highly recommend everyone go see it. If you can still catch it in theaters, I think it's still in theaters. Highly recommend it. And yeah, that should do it for like our review of Nosferatu 2024.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's it. I don't really have anything more to add at this point.
Yeah. All right. So I want to thank you all so much for joining us. We're trying to, you know, get back to the group of things. I want to thank you, Eddie, for uploading the Sonic 3 review. I was listening to it earlier today. Thank you so much for speeding up that thing that I fucked up.
About
So,
what?
exactly. Thank you. And join us next week as we do our top 10 of the year.
Top 10 of the year.
Top 10 of the year for next week. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. My name was Chama,
I've been Eddie.
and this was the Rollback. Signing off with a reminder that you must bounce on it.
Are you proud of yourself?
Extremely.
Bye, everybody.
Extremely. Und now we are neighbor.
Folks, if Chema is a role model to you, get a new role model.